Greetings and salutations. We are back. I almost was not going to do a show today because, quite honestly, I'm feeling very somber and discouraged. For those that don't know, yesterday we covered the latest interview. I don't even want to say her name, right? We covered the latest interview of a well known conspiracy theorist that's been around um, telling fairy tales for 16 years. And we sort of made fun of that interview and some of the claims that she made. Um, but again, for those that don't know, here's what happened. The show that she appeared on, their YouTube channel this morning, got nuked from YouTube, completely deleted from YouTube. And it's my belief that that happened largely because of this person going on that person's show and spouting off an incredible amount of irresponsible, untrue, and misleading statements that she presents as facts. And I don't know, today, I feel terrible for that content creator. And here's the problem. A lot of people were doing a victory dance when certain people's channels were getting stamped out, but not me, because although I did not like some of those content creators personally, I did not like their shows. I did not like them, uh, especially one of them, which is actually a propaganda. It's a propaganda front for a Chinese cult. Okay, so yeah, I sort of went, they shouldn't have a YouTube channel, not when they're pretending to be independent content creators and they're actually working for a Chinese cult putting out propaganda. But I knew it. I knew I was not happy about even their channel being stamped out because of that old saying there, before the grace of God go I. We talk a lot of we talk about a lot of strange topics here. Uh, and I welcome alternative viewpoints as long as they come with some facts and evidence. And see, herein lies the problem. One of them. So here's a big problem. A big problem is YouTube's algorithm, which makes these stamping out channels decisions, doesn't know if somebody is talking sarcastically, if somebody's being sarcastic when they make a statement. The YouTube algorithm doesn't know if someone is making fun of people who are talking about these conspiracy land topics, or if they are talking about those topics in support of them. The YouTube algorithm is very, very flawed. And a lot of you know that I have a background in computer science. I have friends that work in Silicon Valley, and I'm hesitant to say this. Let's just say I have friends that work for some tech giants in Silicon Valley. We don't have to say who those are, but you can guess, and you're probably right. There's, two major of them, three major of them. And what I was told by every one of the people employed by these tech giants is there's no people making the decisions. We've got algorithms that do everything. Everything is automated. There's no human with human reasoning capability that can look at a piece of content and say, oh, this show host is making fun of those people talking about this crazy stuff, right? There's no human that's going to step in and say, oh, okay, you're not in support. You're speaking out against this content creator who's spreading this false information. You're critiquing them and saying, hey, they're saying this and it's false information. So you shouldn't get stamped down. There's no human. This algorithm just goes through thousands, tens of thousands of YouTube videos, maybe probably hundreds of thousands, maybe even a million YouTube videos. I don't know how many get uploaded a day, but this algorithm simply goes through uploaded content or even old content and looks for keywords. And if it finds those keywords, it flags you, and you could either get a community strike for going against community guidelines, or they'll just delete your entire channel. Now, in the case of the content creator whose show we were sort of critiquing yesterday, he made a video today claiming that he has never gotten a community strike. He doesn't have 3 strikes. That wasn't his 3rd strike. He doesn't have any strikes. And I've heard other content creators who were stamped out say the same thing, but I didn't know or trust those other people, to be honest. When this particular content creator, and most of you know who we're talking about, I'm going to speak in very vague terms because I don't want to anger this YouTube AI algorithm god who decides the fate of us and our channel here. So that person, I have a little bit of a knowledge of what kind of person he is, right? What kind of, I don't know. I just know him. And if he says that they didn't give him the usual 3 strikes, I sort of trust that he's being honest in saying that. And that is disturbing and alarming, because that would mean that the company doesn't even follow their own guidelines. They can just, and this gets very complicated. Do they have to follow their own rules? Not really. They're a private company. They can do as they wish. And what rights do we as users of this platform have? Well, the truth is we have no rights. We're guests. Just as, you could have a guest at your house. You could have a guest at your house. They don't have any rights inside your house. It's your house. And so, I don't know. I felt very somber today. I felt sad. And, I felt sad that sort of another show host I was pretty friendly with just lost his channel because, but honestly, I don't blame him for the loss of his channel. I don't think he did anything wrong, except he booked a guest that he should have known not to book. But I don't blame him. It's not his fault. And this brings up more complicated issues for me, which is, am I responsible for something that a guest says on my show? Does the YouTube algorithm know if I tell a guest I disagree with you on that point you just made? Does it understand that I disagree? Or am I going to be held responsible for every single thing that comes out of a guest's mouth? Because it would appear that in the case of this other show and this other content creator, and you know what? This is how things have gotten. I'm just going to put in the live chat the other content creator. So people know if they don't already. I think everybody knows who I'm talking about, but just for the benefit of those that don't, I just put in the live chat that content creator and his channel, his show, which by the way had, I think, 10 or 15,000 subscribers. He averaged 400 live viewers every time he did a live stream. Big, much bigger channel than our shit show here. According to him, he didn't have any community strikes against him. They just stamped out his channel. And but getting back to this, so I guess we're going to have some changes on the channel. And I saw CW Channers here. I listened to a stream of his, like the end of my channel or something like that, a few days ago, and I thought, you're overreacting, bro. It's not that bad. You don't have to change much, but you do, because along with these rolling, deletion of people's channels based on something a guest on their show said, we also have now several reports I've gotten of people that have been given a community strike for hate speech when they were talking shit about somebody. And considering that I talk a lot of shit and tend to get angry and yell about people and, very, I guess, animatedly insult them, that could get a community strike. So we're going to have to do our best to avoid that. And I don't know if I'm supposed to mark old videos private, but I'm hearing from several people that you could have a video that's 3 years old and this algorithm could find it and give you a strike. Um, so, one of the changes is going to be that I'm going to have to be a lot more professional if I want to cover certain people, certain characters in this so-called new age, spiritual, UFO, alien community. I'm going to have to be a lot more like a real journalist. Like, I thought about this today, and I've never heard a real journalist start yelling and screaming when they were covering, even if they were covering somebody that was scamming people, which we do quite often here, or people that in my opinion, I think are scamming people, right? And I yell that they're slime balls or whatever. You don't see like a real journalist do that. Not that I ever thought that I would want to become a real journalist or that's my goal in life. I just mean, I suppose I have to get much more professional if I'm going to cover certain things. I can't get emotional. I can't call people slime balls. I can't, because that could be a violation of the terms of service. And another change that I'm going to have to make, and this is important, and I guess I got to write something up to hand out to potential guests. I'm going to have to ask potential guests or just let them know that we're going to have a general rule here. And here's going to be the rule. And it's for two reasons, really. The rule is going to be that we don't talk about the current health crisis, and we don't talk about anything to do with the election or politics in general. Now, there's two reasons for this. The first is selfish. Well, maybe three reasons. So the first is selfishly, I get enough. I get my fill of all that crap, especially in this lockdown. And, my state's really pulling things back and putting restrictions more. They didn't put us back in a lockdown. They're sort of taking an inch a day. Does that make any sense? Like they're not doing it all at once, but it seems like they're slowly rolling towards another lockdown. And I've had 9 months of this, eight or 9 months of this. I've had my children home with me for the whole 9 months, just about up until recently, when at least my older son is now attending school 4 days a week. This is not to complain. I'm trying to express here why I don't want to talk about the health crisis, right? I just want to roll on with this. Whatever's going to happen is going to happen. I just want to roll on with it until it's over. And hopefully it will be soon. There's some hopefully good news on the horizon. But here's the second reason is that I think that people come here for an escape from their own situations with the health crisis. Everyone's under a tremendous amount of stress, anxiety, depression. So, I know a lot of people that I would never have thought would be depressed. And I can tell in interacting. I know them. I've known some of these people for years, friends, family, relatives, that I would never have thought that a few of these people would become depressed. And I just know that they are. People are dealing with a lot with this stuff. And I think we all have to be conscious of that. So my point is, people come here for an escape from these things. And as far as politics, generally, and I've said this before, I think both sides are criminals. I don't care if you've decided that your criminal is somewhat less of a criminal than a criminal that someone else prefers. Both sides are criminals. My personal belief is that this country is not run by individuals, but it's run by corporations. And I guess, I just consider any discussion or debate or argument on politics to be pointless because both sides are criminals, right? Congratulations if your criminal is somewhat less of a criminal than my criminal, my preferred criminal. I'm not choosing sides anymore because I believe both sides are criminals. So it's me talking about politics. To me, like I start as soon as somebody starts talking to me about politics, and I don't even want to say, but we just had a vote happen, right? So that whole thing that's going on, and people making claims about what happened when people were making that vote, I don't care. I don't care. I don't care because both sides are criminals. So as soon as people start talking to me about politics or that stuff, my eyes glaze over. I lose total focus and attention on whatever they're saying, and I hear that Charlie Brown teacher like wah 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 wah. That's what I hear. And the third major, so people want an escape, and I think as far as politics, I don't care. I don't want to argue with you. If you want to go and argue about politics, there's other channels. There's whole channels dedicated. That's all they do is talk about politics, and you can pick a side. If you're one side of the criminal aisle or the other side of the criminal aisle, there's people for you to go and listen to and do that with. I don't want to do it here. And the third major reason why I'm going to ask guests or just let guests know and just let it be known we don't talk about the health crisis or politics here is because of the AI algorithm. I could say anything and it could be misconstrued, right? Even if I totally agree with this tech giant's version of reality, right? Even if I totally agree with them, I could have a guest come on here and say something like what happened to this other content creator whose channel was deleted this morning. He didn't say those things, but his guest, it was like she came on there to make this happen. She rung every one of the bells that we've all heard about you don't say on that platform. She was like going through a checklist, ringing every one of those bells multiple times. And the show host even commented on it. She said, well, I don't know if you want to unpack some of this or where you want to go next. And he said, well, we can go anywhere because you've just said everything you're not supposed to say, and this might get me banned. And sadly, this morning he woke up and his channel was gone. And that's a terrible thing. I have such empathy and sympathy for him, And I saw some of the chatter today. Somebody said, well, he let her say this stuff. And like, I don't know if you've ever been in a position of interviewing somebody and it's going that way. You just got to do the best you can as a show host to move the show along and try to minimize the damage. If you've got a guest spouting off about this, and some people said, well, that show host agrees with a lot of what she said. And that may be true. I don't know. But I do know that a very irresponsible person went on this other show host show, literally ticked all the check boxes of things you're not supposed to say on this platform multiple times defiantly, right? Then she also laid out her own plans to avoid getting strikes or whatever, or how to, get around YouTube's terms of service and still be able to say the crazy shit that she says, which in and of itself, you're on that platform talking about how you're going to evade or get around that platform's rules. Not a good idea, right? That could have been what caused that channel's deletion. Maybe that platform doesn't want people telling other people how to evade or avoid their rules. I don't know. So I guess we're just going to have some changes here. Like I said, we're not going to talk about those two subjects. Anything else is off. Anything else is on the table, especially strange and mysterious topics, which is supposed to be our focus here. The paranormal, UFOs, cryptoid creatures, ghosts, stargates, I don't know, hidden history, anything, that's what we're going to be talking about here and trying to focus on. And listen, I know I'm guilty. I veered off into some strange other places. But I feel like I did that for a reason. Like we covered the riots in the neighborhood I grew up in Philadelphia, because I was just shocked that nobody was talking about it and nobody was covering it. And I thought somebody should, but generally, we're not a news channel here. If you're coming to me for your news, you're doing it wrong, bro. Like, I'm not a journalist. I'm not a news source. Maybe I'm a news source about like what's going on in crazy land, but you don't want to get like real news from me. If you want to know what's going on in crazy land, I might be your guy, right? But if you want to know like what's going on in the world, or with the current health situation, or any of that stuff, I'm not the guy. All right, we'll take some comments and questions. No offense, but getting your channel struck usually will have strange repercussions. Most people have gained bigger subs on their backup and rebranding. You mean if they start a new one, right? Which is what this other, I'm not even sure. If you get your channel deleted, I'm not even sure if you're technically allowed to start a new channel. Like, I don't know, some people like Alex Jones, I know for a fact, Alex Jones, after they deleted his channel, he was told you are never allowed to start a new channel. So he can't even start a new channel. I don't know if they do that with everybody who gets deplatformed, but I have to read the terms of service, because it may be that if you get your channel deleted and you just start a new one, and like if I started Truthseekers 2, if we got banned or deleted, would that be a violation? I don't even know. And somebody just reminded me, it was V, just reminded me, thank you, V, that I was saying, I don't understand the rules here, and I want to be compliant. And she said that there's some guidance in the terms of service. So I'm going to go back to YouTube school, and I'm going to, I saw there's some videos about what is and what is not within the rules here. And I realized, I mentioned this to, I mentioned this to V, like, I haven't read those terms of service. Come on, who reads? I haven't read those terms of service since I got a strike on my original channel. And that was probably 5 or 8 years ago. Sometimes I read when they email you, we've updated our terms of service. Like once in a while, I'll skim through that and see like, what are the changes here? Do I have to worry about any of this? But generally, like a lot of people, I don't have the mental bandwidth for things. I just have ignored. I have to read, and I want to be in compliance, right? And listen, if I make a mistake or I do something intentionally against the rules, then I would understand them taking action against me. But at this point, I'm not sure what is permissible, what is not permissible, what is within the terms of service, what is against the terms of service, what is within community guidelines, what is without or against community guidelines. I'm not even sure. And part of the reason is because there's all these changes they keep making. And I guess it's not their fault. Like they have to update as things go on. And, there's a lot of discussion about, biases with these tech companies. And yeah, all companies are biased. They want the guy in office that's going to do the best for their company. That's capitalism. That's the world we live in, right? So it just is what it is. So, I guess here we'll go to I did not leave Beltman. Yeah, about the backup channel before they, yeah. I don't even want to put that up on the screen, right? I've seen that. Yeah, and I guess we'll do that too. Triple hashtags are working with others to get things to trend on Twitter and all that jazz. Yeah. Yeah. And, the other thing I should mention is that the cabin is snowed out, that's why I'm still home. I was supposed to be at the cabin right now, but the road leading to the cabin is snowed out, and it's going to take them until tomorrow, maybe early tomorrow morning, to plow and clear a path, so I'll be able to even get to the cabin. There's about 6 inches of snow, which is kind of my that's when my car has a little bit of trouble. If it's a couple inches, it's not a big deal. I just take it real slow, put the traction control on. I don't have four-wheel drive, but I have traction control. But one time when there were 6 inches of snow, as slow as I was going, I still slid down a hill and I ended up in a ditch. And it took a tow truck had to come with these winches and like with these two metal things and like pull me out of the ditch. So when there's that much snow, I have a neighbor that calls me and says like, "Hey, you might want to come in tomorrow, not today, because it's still a mess out there." So I bailed. I bailed on going. I chickened out, and sometimes I'm regretful because I had to buy a new vehicle like last year, and I really looked for a four-wheel drive vehicle, but it just wasn't in the budget. So I settled for one with traction control. And when days like this happen, I go, I should have got one with freaking four-wheel drive, because 6 inches of snow, if you got four-wheel drive, is not a big deal, not at all. So we'll go to the live chat. There is another way to put the account under another person's as owner, so they can say technically they don't own it. Yeah, I guess there's always a way around these things, but if they want to Truthseekers too, now more seekier. Seeker. Yeah. Need that rocket mass heater put in already. Yeah, I have one room left to build for the cabin after the sunroom, and that's going to be a studio. And I may build a rocket mass heater. I'm fascinated by what little firewood those things take. That might be on my list of things to do. YouTube does nothing about socks accounts at all. People create hundreds of them. That is so obviously wrong, but it makes YouTube look like they have lots of users when a fair amount are socks. Could be. Yeah. Could be. Jeanette Krasenko, how many feet? What? Do you mean how many feet for the last room I have to build? I'm not sure I understand. There should be one account per email. That's it. I agree with you. Actually, I thought you had to have a separate Google account to start a YouTube account. I didn't know that you could have. Yeah, I guess maybe you can, right? Can you have multiple YouTube channels on one email address? It's impossible to get to my pop's pad during winter months some years. The one road that leads into his town is steep, and there's some. Yeah, mine too. It's like a winding mountain road. So it's fine in the warm months, but in the winter it's a little treacherous. And I have to say, Michael, I was a lot braver before I went in a ditch, right? Because when I went in that ditch, like I wasn't going that fast. I was doing 5 miles an hour, and I don't even think there was 6 inches. There was maybe three, but it was like pretty compact down. And I think I hit an ice patch, and I just slid down this hill and swerved and hit a tree, an embankment. Yeah. So after that happened, I became a lot more cowardly, right? And I get a neighbor who lives across. He has the. I have like the richest neighbor in the neighborhood right across from me. He has like a big real house, like a big 3,000 square foot, like big real house, over there. And he calls me and he like lets me know. And he's got a four-wheel drive truck, but he knows like if his wife is going to have problems getting in and out with her car, so will I. So he calls me and lets me know. They don't mind dirty socks so much anymore. They all chat the same way, so it's to find out what hater group they're from if you ask the right questions, that is. Oh, geez. Yeah, all these troll games, Lee Veltman, is stupid and childish, right? Six design. I have four-wheel drive. I need it. Yeah, I think I do too. My next vehicle, I don't care what it costs. I'll just wait and save up, whatever. My next car is going to have four-wheel drive. I wanted to buy a four-wheel drive truck, but the problem with that is that my wife's so concerned with the children, and pickup trucks are not ideal for car seats and having children. And even if you get a double cab, um, and the ones that were affordable that I saw were pretty beat up. And she was like, "No, I don't think so." And plus, she doesn't want to drive a pickup truck because occasionally, she has her own vehicle, but if her vehicle's in the shop and she needs mine to get to work, or so it's got to be a vehicle that she is okay with driving with, and it is what it is. So, any questions or comments? I guess we'll open the phone lines too if anybody wants to call in. And I'm sorry, I'm sorry. I just kind of started this whole show. It's like a big downer. I'm feeling very somber today and very like I'm sad for my friend that lost his channel because he may have lost his entire library of videos, which made me go, "Oh, I should be backing things up, right? Oh yeah, I should," and I'm not because previous to all of this YouTube stuff, like you just knew that that video is going to be there forever. Um, I have to check though. I think Facebook just leaves them forever. Twitch only leaves them for 5 days and then they disappear from Twitch. Oh, and here I'm gonna do something else. So if anybody, here's another bit of business that we have to get out of the way. So because this other YouTube content creators channel got deleted for having this conspiracy theorist who was touting, all kinds of misinformation and false statements, their channel got deleted. And we did a video yesterday where we were making fun of her and the statements that she was making. But again, I have zero confidence that the YouTube algorithm is going to understand that we were critiquing and saying that she's crazy or, she shouldn't be making. I even said that she's making irresponsible statements when she started to get into the current health crisis. She's not a doctor. She's not a nurse. She's not a health expert. She shouldn't be giving people advice on anything to do with health. And I said that was irresponsible. But the point being that the algorithm doesn't know. They don't know that I'm saying I disagree with her saying this and she's irresponsible and people could get hurt if they listen to her terrible advice, right? The algorithm doesn't know, but they might have heard her in there saying what she said and therefore delete my channel. So I marked that show from yesterday private. If, however, you missed it and would still like to view that show, it's still available on Twitch and it's still available on my Facebook. We stream to 3 locations. Apparently, Twitch doesn't really, they don't censor videos. I don't think that they have the capability or the resources to do, especially the, artificially intelligent bots that are going around checking videos for another tech giant. I don't think they have the resources or the tools available to them to censor people in the same way. So things are a little safer to stay on Twitch. So the link to that video, and it'll be on Twitch for 4 more days. I'm putting in the live chat just in case you missed it and you want to see that. It is what it is. Otherwise, it'll be on Facebook. Later tonight, I'm going to download the video. And I'm going to put it on a Google Drive and send the link to the Patreon people. Robin Eagle song. I think D Live is pretty decent. Yeah, I've heard that too. And this gets into Chris Michael. Her channel is still up. Yeah, her channel's still up, but she got that other show's channel just deleted from the universe, from the internet webverse. So, and that's one of the reasons why I'm a little sad, because Like I said, there, but for the grace of God go I. I don't know. I could listen, I could have a guest come on and say all kinds of stuff. And then I'm going to be held responsible for the things coming out of somebody else's mouth. Even if I disagree with the things that came out of their mouth and say I disagree with them. It's just this is not good. It's not good for creative people because now every time I do something here, I have to stop and think about if there's going to be repercussions from anything that I say, anything that I do. Could that be misconstrued? Um, and part of me thinks maybe this is good. Maybe this is like a wake up call. I got to stop being such a clown and start being a little more professional in my presentations, right? Um, or do people come here to see me clown around and just make fun of a lot of this stuff? Yeah. Oh, yeah, Michael, I replied to your, yeah, two engines failed before the belly flop. It was expected, but wow, that thing was quite a sight to behold. And he's talking about SpaceX's launch today, which I watched with great interest because that thing looks like a rocket ship from Flash Gordon. Isn't it beautiful, Michael? I love that design. I think it's a great design. And I saw Michael comment. I'm like, oh, it's sad. The high altitude flight test today went very well for SpaceX when it was going up. And then it even went well right to, it looked like it was 50 feet off the launch pad coming down. It came down and, it goes up to its apex and then it turned and then the engines reignite for the recovery and it's supposed to be coming down. And it did. Everything looked beautiful. I thought it was going to touch down. I thought they were going to have, total success. I heard later that, yeah, they expected that it might have issues with the landing. So it looked to me like 50 feet before touchdown, something went wrong and it exploded. But congratulations, though, to SpaceX and Elon Musk and the whole SpaceX team. It's progress. And I said to Michael earlier, this is all part of research and development, and they'll get it next time. They'll nail it next time. I'm confident that that thing's going to work. Musk, besides Musk, he's got some of the greatest rocket brains in the world working in SpaceX now. He got people to just quit NASA to work for him because he's actually doing something. And that was the good news today. And I post on my Twitter in case you want to see the launch. It's on my Twitter. That was the good news today. We're moving forward with some sort of vision for the exploration of space. It's unfortunate that a private company has to do it, and NASA's pretty much being left in the dust by private companies now. It makes me sad because I grew up with NASA, and I don't know. I don't know what they're doing. I don't know what NASA is doing. I think, I did not know this. Live shows are much more prone to total bans, where otherwise a recorded show might give you another chance. I would sell my soul for a shot to walk on the Martian surface. I've always been fascinated with Mars since I was a child. And I was very curious about Mars growing up and whether we could turn it into an Earth like planet. And later found out that, yeah, we could terraform Mars and it could become very, very Earth like, with the exception of slightly different gravity. Its day is even just about as long as an Earth day. The big issue there, Michael, is that they'd have to release huge amounts of carbon dioxide in order to hold heat in and make the habitat for plants and people. But here's the thing: we're great at CO2 emissions, so I think someday Mars will be terraformed and people will live there without breathers or any of that stuff. Oh, I didn't know that. Tiff's coworker hubby works at SpaceX as some rocket scientist. I always wanted to be a rocket scientist just so I could constantly say, it doesn't take a rocket scientist to do this, And Michael, growing up, I was really big into model rockets. I built huge, big model rockets. The biggest one I ever built was bigger than me, and I'm 6'3", 6'4". So I think the biggest one I ever built was like 7 foot tall, and used sugar rocket engine. But I got in trouble for that one because it was well bigger than a hobby level thing. Let's just leave it at that. Wow, I didn't know this. Charles and Lee says Mars has three-breasted women and Johnny Cabs. Oh, you're talking about Total Recall. I love that movie. So, any comments or questions? Otherwise, I guess we'll make this a short show today. Banya, is there life on Mars? I believe that there's at least microbial life. I don't think that there's, intelligent life. There may have at one point. A lot of people believe that Mars was once very Earth-like, and then something happened, and their atmosphere is gone. And there are some conspiracy theories that there's some evidence on the Martian surface of radioactivity. So maybe some people have theorized that there has been, in the distant past of Mars, if there was intelligent life, maybe they developed a civilization, discovered the atomic bomb, and then destroyed their world. And what's left is what we see now. RDS is pimping out the sex slaves up there, so I hear. Yeah. Yeah, that's where they send the sex slaves, Lee Veltman. They send them to the Martian colony. It's a secret, though. Shh. Pragmagic is here, and Pragmagic is going to be on our show Friday at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And hopefully that show will be much less of a downer. We'll be talking about songwriting and his concept of audiomancy, which I'm kind of fascinated with. And I've been thinking a lot about that lately as I haven't returned to writing songs, but I made the decision that I would. And I'm just sort of I haven't full born gone into it yet. I don't know the proper terminology for it. I'm dabbling. I'm dabbling right now. Like I started playing this keyboard again, and messing with guitars again, and like what is it that I like here, and looking for sounds. I could get dangerous, I guess, now because I just started collecting samples again. By that I mean like bass drum samples, snare samples, hi hat samples. That's what I used to build most of my songs out of, just sampled instruments, and synthesizers. Pragmagic, you didn't miss much. I was just talking about the changes in YouTube, and how cautious everyone has to be right now, given the current climate, lest you too get deleted. And yesterday we covered this conspiracy theorist that was a guest on another show, and that conspiracy theorist channel is still up, but the show who she went on as a guest and talked all this crazy smack on, like she was ticking the boxes for how you get deleted from YouTube while she was talking, got deleted, which is sad. I don't want to see anybody's channel get deleted. It's an awful lot of work, and that guy probably had, I don't know, 100 or more videos. He started last March and was doing 5 shows a week, so more than 100 probably shows, and he doesn't have a backup. Pragmagic, I have 8 sample libraries of original samples. Would you care to share and help a brother out? Because I have a few. I have a few big folders of both loops and one shots. So yeah, we should trade. I love getting somebody else's collection. I used to trade with this guy that had a lot of vintage analog synthesizers and step sequencers, and he used to make like these really cool synth bass lines and then record them as loops. because the analog synthesizers and step sequencers that it was using were so old that they don't have like a digital way to save the sequence and the sound. So he had to sort of make loops out of them before he could make another loop with the same synthesizer. I loved getting stuff from that guy. Or, I had another friend that used to sample a lot of weird stuff. And I like weird stuff, especially in the undertones of the music or like just under the mix. Pragmagic would love to share. Good. I'll see what I can get together for you. Did you hear about the Galactic Federation Jolly? They're here. Oh, yeah. We can get to that business too. By the way, Lee Veltman, a lot of people have been asking me about this story about this Israeli former official who came out and said that there is really a Galactic Federation full of aliens, but they don't want humans to know about it yet because we're not ready. And what did I think about that? And here's what I think about it. If somebody, I feel exactly the same way about him as I feel about the former Canadian defense minister coming out and claiming aliens are real. Just because the guy worked for the government and he says that doesn't mean that's accurate information. In the case of Paul Hellyer, he believes everything he reads in a book, he believes is factually correct. It doesn't matter who wrote the book. It doesn't matter that the person that wrote the book just made up the stories, doesn't have good sources or proof or evidence. He just believed everything. Like he read The Day After Roswell, and he believed that everything in the book The Day After Roswell was 100% factually correct. So we don't know what the motivations of this Israeli person are. We don't know if he's not suffering from senility or dementia, as has been claimed. I've seen several posts on social media where somebody is chastising the media organizations running with the story because that gentleman is 87 years old and is suffering from dementia, and they're using him to sell a story. And his family apparently is not happy about it. This is what I've heard. I haven't verified that information. I don't know if it's accurate, but it sounds like that could be the case. And so all of these people are doing a cartwheel, right? And some secret space astronauts are claiming, see, I was right. There is a galactic council. No, you said council, not federation, but okay. It's bullshit. And until there's, evidentiary support in the form of documents, proof, I don't know, a little more than an 87-year-old, possibly senile old man saying it is true. That's what I require for what I would term proof, right? So that's my take on it. I just don't think it's a big story. I think an 87-year-old man who may be senile said something, but he offered no proof of this information other than his word. And it goes to Richard Dolan's concept of falsifiability. And that is that a piece of information which can neither be proven true or false has no value. And that's what this piece of information falls under. I can't prove that that's true based on just what the guy said, and I can't prove that it's false based on what the guy said or that he's lying. I don't know. And that's my take on it. Now, if people wanted me to do a whole show on that, I just did the whole show on it, or what I could say about it in 5 minutes. We could read the articles, dissect word by word exactly what he said, but I think everybody's already read the articles and knows what the gentleman said. And if it's true, of course, that's got huge impact. But so far, we're not seeing, corroborating witnesses to this guy's story. We didn't see like somebody that worked under him or with him say, yeah, this thing about aliens is right. I don't know. Oh, yeah. And YouTube just updated their rules concerning election coverage 13 hours ago, which, by the way, we're not going to cover that because, as I said, we're just not going to get into politics. We're not going to get into politics and the health crisis anymore, period. And I'm going to caution guests don't bring up politics or the health crisis. Um, and I guess I'm also going to have to go through the current YouTube terms of service and the guidelines and I'm going to have to figure out if there's anything else that I want to flag and tell guests we don't want to talk about that, because majorly I don't want to get held responsible if some nut job like KC, I don't even want to say her name anymore because that might be enough, if some uh, guest is like unhinged like this KC and comes on my show saying things, I don't want to be held responsible for what they say, especially by an AI algorithm where I have no due process. You don't. It's like you get a trial where you can present evidence and show that you didn't violate anything. You can't even get to talk to a person. These decisions are all made by AI algorithms. So it is what it is, friends. It is what it is. Just why I posted, Stephen, a heads up for everyone else too. Yeah, yeah, it's a downer. This whole show is a downer. You know what we need? We need some strippers. But that may be against the terms. I don't know. That may be against the terms of service. Can't even get cheered up by some lovely ladies dancing on a pole today, right? You would think. You would think that that would be allowed, especially on a somber day where you're sort of like sad and I'm very yeah, I feel bad for that other show host, right? Worked since March building this monster, and dude did a much better job than I have. So I have a lot of respect for the guy, even though I disagree with almost everything he talks about on his show. I still have respect for the guy because he built this monster channel and he did it in virtually the same time. He lapped me 10 times over with subscribers and view counts. Now, in my defense, his show and channel are very woo based, you know, which I hear is a lot easier to get subs and views if you're gonna go full woo, and we are a little more skeptical here, and so we don't get a lot of that crowd, I suppose. But still, I have I have respect for the guy building a monster channel that in that short amount of time building a monster channel, uh, and to lose all of his work because of an irresponsible guest spouting off at the mouth saying all kinds of stupid shit that she should know better, that she shouldn't be saying. And I find it interesting that she didn't say that shit on her channel. She said it on somebody else's channel, right? Isn't that funny? And uh, all these people want to, oh well, we all got to go to D Live or we all got to go to Periscope and forget about YouTube. Let YouTube die. Look, it's the monopoly right now. All the viewers are on YouTube. D Live, all the alternative platforms, and I mean all of them put together: Twitch, D Live, Periscope. What is that? Daily Caller or Daily Motion, um, Vimeo. All of the alternative platforms to YouTube or YouTube streaming put together don't have 5% of the viewership that YouTube has. Will that increase over time? Maybe. I'm hopeful that it will, so that part of the problem here with this monopolization of things and one company having far too much power will resolve itself. But knowing what I know about capitalism, I don't see that happening. I don't see these alternative platforms taking off. I mean, Twitch is run by Amazon. They have the best shot since Amazon has billions and can invest a great deal more money into them. But Twitch seems to be a place to go to watch people play video games. There's very little other content on Twitch. Will that change too? I don't know. I hope. But I was told by a friend that's a big Twitch streamer. They stream Call of Duty and other, you know, sort of games and also watch Twitch a lot, that our show is one of the only shows like it on Twitch. You know, there's not much going on over there or any of the other alternatives. So while I understand people saying we need to get off of YouTube and go, you can't. You can't. All of the viewers are on YouTube. 95% of them are on YouTube. So what are you going to do? And especially in our case, like if we're lucky, like a good number of views for us would be 1,000 views on a video, right? That would be pretty good numbers for us. So if I go to alternative platforms and I get 95% less than that, then I will do a show and get 50 views for a good show, you know? And that's just, I mean, the math doesn't work out. Why should I go and do it on an alternative platform when I can stay here and get the 1,000 views or whatever, the most views? So as a content creator looking to grow too, you're not going to grow if you get off of YouTube and you're solely on these alternative platforms. That's my opinion. I could be wrong. There's exceptions to every rule. Like if you created something that was truly unique and entertaining enough, people wouldn't care where they watched it. Maybe you could do okay. But I think you need to be on YouTube to find the viewers and for the viewers to find you. Yes, YouTube is king when it comes to viewers by far, even with the extremely strict rules. Yeah, and here's another bit of business, I guess, that I wanted to get out of the way and just mention. The search algorithm is kind of fixed now. It used to be if you put in just truth seekers, we would come up like way down on the list, and this sort of comedy show somebody created with the same name there would be 100 of theirs first. But somehow now, let me check again just to be sure. I checked this earlier. Somebody mentioned it to me, and I said that, well, that's interesting. So I'm going to just put Truth Seekers into the search bar now. See, yeah. So now if you put Truth Seekers into the search bar, we're the first channel that comes up, which is great. And there's a few videos. So we have the first 3 search results, and then the rest is that comedy show for the rest of the whole page. Yeah. So that's some good news, because I was even thinking that we're just going to change the name of the show, because nobody could, if you just typed in Truth Seekers, you wouldn't find our channel or our shows. And that's, not good if you're trying to grow a channel. Oh, and wow, one of the other things I'll say is that we lost 10 subscribers in the past day. And I think that has something to do with us covering that other show host. And here's because some of those subs migrated here from his channel. I've been on his show. He's given me a bunch of plugs, told people to go subscribe. And if that's the case, then I apologize if you were unhappy. I wasn't covering that show host. I was covering the guest. And given what happened after that guest was on his show, I think I made a good decision to cover that. I knew, I had a feeling that something like this might happen, right? Like, what is this dummy going to say, right? I couldn't believe it when she was literally like saying everything that she knew that could get you in trouble with YouTube in one hour guest appearance, right? So I don't know, like 10 subscribers dropped off. Maybe people were unhappy with me covering that other show host. Listen, I support that other show host, and I feel terrible that he lost his channel. I hope we're still friendly. I sent him a message earlier telling him, I heard the news. It's terrible news and this and that. He hasn't gotten back to me. I don't know if he's pissed at me too, or maybe he's just in an extremely bad mood, as well he should be, because he just lost 9 or 10 months worth of extremely hard work creating content. All of his shows he doesn't have. Yeah, Pragmagic. I took it. Let me see. I explained earlier, I took that episode down. It's still on Twitch. It's still on Facebook, and I'm putting it on Patreon. Or what I may do is I may create an alternate channel and put things there that may be problematic, but I don't really want to do that. It's still on Twitch. I'll post the Twitch link on my Twitter for people, or I did. I've already posted the Twitch link to the show from yesterday, which we did take down. We just marked it private. Because if they're going to delete the show host's channel for hosting this person saying these things, for all I know, they would delete my channel because we stopped the video along the way and we're critiquing, but the algorithm doesn't know the difference. The algorithm may just pick up on those keywords that this KC was saying and then delete my whole channel. Yeah, probably for the best. I heard about the reckoning. I don't know if it was many more. I didn't hear more than this show host channel who we covered yesterday. I don't know if there was like a lot more. Is there a lot more that got? I bet you they took out a lot of channels yesterday or today. Jeanette Krasenko, maybe he just doesn't want to speak to anyone right now. Yeah. And listen, if he's angry with me, then, I apologize if I did anything that pissed him off or offended him. It was certainly not my intention. And I had no, I don't have any ill will towards him. I just don't like that. Honestly, here's the truth, Jeanette. I don't like that guest that he had. I don't like the things that she says. I think the things that she says are extremely stupid, irresponsible. There's no evidence to anything she says, and she's been running around selling people fairy tales and lies for 16 years now with no evidence and terrible sources. Sources like convicted murderers or child molesters, right? Senile old men. I just don't like her. So, I mean, hindsight is always 2020. Do I wish I would have did a different show yesterday? Yeah, probably, because on top of losing his channel, that other show host doesn't need the day before for somebody to be making fun of a guest on his show, and then the next day he loses his channel. That's like two gut punches. And I don't know. I'm sorry to that other content creator if I did anything that pissed you off, because I think you're a good person and a good show host, and I learned a lot from him, and I don't want him to be upset with me. But I understand it's like losing your channel sucks, especially if you just lost like 150 videos that you made that are all 2 or 3 hours long and it's gone forever. You have no way to get that stuff back. I would suggest to just delete it. Private unlisted videos are prone to strikes too. Yeah. You know what? I'm going to do that right now. I'm going to do that right now. How come I don't see it? I should see it. Oh, I have to go to YouTube Studio, I guess. I guess where you delete one from. And yeah, I have a backup copy of that show already on my hard drive. So, yeah, it may be best. Yeah. Options, delete forever. And that's a sad thing to have to do that. I understand that deleting is permanent and can't be undone. Yeah, there you go. So you're right, Sixes. I just deleted that video. And part of me thinks it's ridiculous. It's fucking ridiculous, 60 cents, that I have to do that. Sixes Design. Like, we were making fun of a person making irresponsible, stupid, ridiculous statements. We should be allowed to do that. What? You never know how that algorithm is going to, how it's going to affect me. Yeah, it's not worth it, dude. It stinks, but so does life sometimes. Yeah, life ain't all sunshine and rainbows, Sixth Design. That much I've learned. back up everything I got too, especially my music. Yeah, you're right about that. I learned a hard lesson about that once. I worked on a record for like a year and a half, and I only had one backup of it, and it just like the perfect storm happened. I had a USB external backup drive that the whole album sessions were copied to, and they were on a hard drive of a computer. My son, Zachary, was a toddler at the time, and he dumped this huge, I don't know, like he dumped the whole thing of the bottle of juice or something on the computer. So the hard drive died. And then when I went to get the backup, the USB external drive died. So now I'm big on 4 backups. I have cloud backup and 3 local backups. You work for a month on one song, you don't want to lose it, right? Carry the Toe has beef with Linda the Leech. Those two, I'd like to see those two mud wrestle. Charles Unleashed. Let's make it happen. Dude, it is ridiculous, but if we don't, we pay for it, and YouTube is untouched. Yeah. Just promise me we won't have a loose panel on Friday. No, it's only going to be me and you. I wasn't going to do a panel. It's just going to be me and you. We're going to talk about music, and hopefully nobody will be offended, and the YouTube algorithm gods will find no fault in anything we discuss. But I'm going to say the same thing to you that I'm saying to every guest now. Nothing about politics and nothing about the current health crisis. Now, when we're having our discussion, I may say to you something like, this may be a good time given current situation and isolation to write songs, right? Frank Magic, what do you think? That's okay. I just mean, I don't want somebody coming on my show and starting an anti-vax discussion or an anti-mask discussion or anything like that. And no politics, because I don't care. I just don't care. They're all fucking criminals. It doesn't matter. And I get mad at people who like pick the side and they're so adamant that their side is right. No, your side's criminals too. Let's compare and contrast. Both sides are criminals. Maybe your criminal is slightly less criminal than this criminal on the other side, but you don't get a prize for picking the slightly less criminal. You may not have had to delete it. It's safer too, though, Michael. And I've got a backup right on my hard drive, and it's going on Patreon. So for the Patreon supporters, you'll get access to it forever, and that'll be like a lost Truthseekers show. And I just wanted to mention too, I just realized today because I stopped numbering the shows for a time because here's what I realized. I had this formatting where I would put like Truthseekers episode 00, 18 or whatever. And that takes up the whole first line, right? So people would have to click on the video to see what that show was about. So I changed and just started putting the subject of the video or what the topic was and not numbering anything. And I didn't realize it, but tonight this is episode 77. So it's amazing to me that we've produced now 77 shows. And that doesn't count the few other videos that I made and uploaded to the channel. That's just, shows. So that's amazing to me because in Radio Land, I did one show a week, and it took all week to produce. Sometimes it took all week to produce the one show. All that editing and formatting and putting commercials in and bumpers and I much prefer this new format. We just made more shows in a few months than I made in like literally 2 years making radio shows once a week. I mean, given it was supposed to be a once a week show, but I couldn't do more than one show a week. I was asked to at one point, and I said, there's no way that I could do that. It just takes, it took me when I started, especially, I didn't know what I was doing. So it would take me 10 or 20 hours sometimes, 2 really good full days of work and editing to make 1 2-hour show. So no way that I wanted to do a show 3 days a week, but with this format, I can, and everything works much better. So Pragmagic. No, here's what we're gonna do. I'm gonna have a panel show, and we're gonna put you on it, and then your job is to say something stupid and make it a fucking dumpster fire, like terrible, right? I think that would be a fun show, and then everybody can blame the whole thing and why it sucked on Pragmagic. Yeah, and I heard mention I haven't seen Mario Heat for a while, so shout out to Mario Heat. Uh, I don't. I heard there's some kind of drama going on between him and another show host or something, and so he hasn't been around. And I just want to tell him, like, hey, Mario Heat, like, I didn't do nothing. Me and you ain't got no beef, so you can come to my show. It's okay, and but I hope everything works out with that other show host too, because you know. Anyway, I've noticed his absence, and we're thinking of you, bro. So, you know, be sure to check back in with us. Let everybody know. You know, let everybody know what's going on, and come back to us. Yeah, Charles Unleashed. Where's Mario? I don't know. He had some kind of falling out with another show host in the live chat or something, and he had just kind of bailed out, and he hasn't been around. So I don't know. I don't know what's going on, but I hope he's good and healthy and happy, and and I'm hopeful that he'll be back soon. Craig Magic, you don't know me well enough, but the best way to get me to do something is to tell me no, don't do it. So we're doing a panel show, bro. Not on Friday, but we'll do it. You know, editing takes a lot of work sometimes, hours and hours, a lot of times just for something 10 minutes or less. Yeah. I mean, I don't miss, I really don't miss all the editing I used to have to do. Especially, the other thing I have to say is I'm going to say this as diplomatically as possible. If you're thinking about doing a podcast, don't do it on any kind of podcast network. Do it yourself. Because here's the problem: a lot of these podcast network, they mean well, and they think they're going to give you some kind of resources or some kind of bump up. Like, well, we've got this many listeners, and we're going to put you in our rotation at a certain time every week, and people will get used to seeing you or hearing you there, and you're going to grow your audience. No, you won't. No. Uh, I grew my own audience, and then I brought it to a podcast network, and my audience grew very little uh, from there. And the sort of podcast network didn't do most of the things that they promised to do, like the distribution. So uh, and I wasn't making anywhere near as much money. As little money as I'm making with this show, it's still worlds better than I made doing a podcast once a week. Yeah, Six is design. I understand that, and given the current climate, I understand a show host getting upset if somebody says something that could be, you know, a problem. But I think, this situation is bad, right? Six design, because I'm on edge. People in the live chat now are kind of on edge. Like, well, I don't want to say anything that might get Steve's show in trouble or get him a strike. And that's not it's not a entertaining, fun, light mood for people to come into. Like, people don't want to go into an oppressive environment like that. Ah, yes, I have heard about this. Did you see that the Earth is taking a coronal mass ejection flare tonight? And tomorrow you should be able to see the aurora borealis all the way down to Pennsylvania. Um, I have heard this 3 different times, Lamont, that you're going to be able to see the aurora borealis in Pennsylvania. And I don't think so. All 3 times I was there at the cabin, waiting to see this and really hoping to, because I've never seen the Northern Lights, the Aurora Borealis. That's on my bucket list actually. And I'm at the highest elevation in Pennsylvania. So if you're actually supposed to be able to see it, then I should see it. But I'll report back. If I do, I'll try to get some pictures or video or something. Um, wow, I didn't know this. Now you're making me even more paranoid. Thanks, Sixes Design. Thank you. Thank you. You're really helping my paranoid state of delusion that I'm in right now. YouTube is checking chat just as much as the content itself. And with that, it's getting harder and harder to accommodate the rules, especially when they change so often. It is bad. I completely agree. Shout out to Madeline Meadows. Absolutely. Good to have you here. Yeah, you can always get a shout out. I didn't shout everybody out. We've got a good number of people here today. I'll go through the live chat. We'll do some shout outs for everyone. Six Design is here. Lee Veltman is here. That Clown Prag Magic is here, and he'll be on our show on Friday at 8 p.m. Eastern Time. Michael is here. Charles Unleashed. We said Lee Veltman. Paul Cargo is here. Lamont Cranston. I don't know. Jeanette Krasenko is here. Let me see if I got everyone. I think so. Jolly Bridge Burner is here. Shout out to Jolly Bridge Burner. And of course, shout out once again to Melinda. Bunya is here. Shout out to Bunya. Chris Michael is here. Shout out to Chris Michael. And I think we got all of you guys in the shout outs. Why do I smoke? Because I'm stupid. And I have them right here. Where do I have one? I have a vape somewhere here. I'm supposed to be switching to vaping. But I'm stupid. That would be the best answer that I could give you. I'm trying to quit, or at least only vape. And I'm going back and forth with those things. Like sometimes for about half the day, I'm okay with it, but then I still seem like I always just want a real cigarette. So this happened the last time. I switched to vaping for 2 years previous, and then went back because I'm stupid. Yeah, I have to be. No, you can always be honest with me, though. That's fine. I'm only teasing you that you're making me more paranoid. There's things that I have to be watchful for here now, Six of Design, and I appreciate you letting me know. I'm trying to vape as we speak, only because I'm out of cigars. Yeah, that did it for me. One time, I think I started vaping because I was totally broken out of money, and I had a bunch of vaping stuff sort of stacked up that I didn't use, different juices and stuff. Yeah, I don't know. That might be hate speech. I just don't know. It's a hell of a thing to see. I guess you're talking about the Northern Lights. Yeah, I would love to see them, and we'll see. You know, like maybe, just maybe, uh, I'll be able to see it. And if I do, I'll report on that. I'm going to look up what night is supposed to be best, and I'll make sure that I'm outside looking up and see what it is that can be seen, right? I think we're going to retitle tonight's show The Downer of Censorship. Um, but that might be an inaccurate title and get me banned. Because it's not censorship, it's just abiding by the rules, you know? Yeah, this has occupied my brain space all day. Like me thinking, like now I've got to make some changes and I've got to be sure to caution guests that I don't want any guests talking about anything to do with politics or the health crisis. Those seem to be the two hot buttons for this platform. And like I said, I honestly I don't want to talk about either of those two things anyway. So first of all, it's not worth the risk of losing your channel, and secondly, I don't care about those subjects. I don't want to. Uh, I don't want to run the risk, and I don't even care to speak about them. So I'm not going to run the risk of losing my channel over something I generally don't want to talk about or care about. And that just is what it is. And I forgot in the shout out, CW Channer was here earlier. So shout out to CW Channer. And, you know, he apparently is facing similar issues with his channel, and he's taken a step to private, I believe, all of his previous shows because that algorithm could find a show he did 2 or 5 years ago and find fault with it and give him a strike. And he doesn't want to see that happen. And I believe he, like me, has suddenly found the urgency of backing up his channel. And that's not an easy thing to do. You need a YouTube. I have all the software, CW. So if you need help, I can help you. I have software to download YouTube content. I just need the links, and I guess well, you'd have to. I don't know. I'll talk to you offline about it. But if you need help to back up your whole channel, I may be able to help with that. But given that you have like 1,000 videos, boy, that could take some time. I think he has 1,000. I could be wrong. He's got hundreds more than me. I know that. Yes, Dale Jones. I think Galactic Federation is fair game. And we talked a little bit about that earlier. Galactic Federation apparently okay. Bought out the competition allegedly. Yeah, I think all these tech giants have way too much power and control, and it's inevitable that the government is going to get involved and say, hey, you're abusing users and you have too much power and control. I did not know that. I need to get a mic for our lives on Facebook. The iMac mic is garbage. Yeah, I was surprised, Michael, because I got this few-year-old 27-inch iMac, and you know, I it's probably the first Apple product that I've actually used. You know, like I had an old eMac, but I didn't use. Somebody gave it to me because they knew I'm a computer guy, and I just sort of futzed around with it and went, "Yeah, Mac is terrible, especially OS 7." You know, it was that old of an eMac. So I was surprised. I was shocked at the shitty quality of both the microphone in the iMac and the webcam. The webcam in the microphone was fucking terrible too. Uh, yeah, Charles Unleashed. You may be right. You may be right. Dark Journalist will probably be next. He could be. He talks about a lot of crazy shit and lets a lot of guests talk a lot of crazy smack. Who owns the videos once you post them? That's a gray area. I think both of YouTube doesn't own anything. They're just a distributor. I believe. I could be wrong. I believe so. There's too many people that are putting copyrighted material on YouTube and claiming ownership of that material. So I think you still own your material, but they can just delete it all at any time that they want to, I believe. And, you know, free speech is so funny. You can speak all you want, but dealing with the consequences is a totally different monster waiting for you on the other side. Yeah. Yeah. And so, Michael, I was saying earlier, that you were talking about the mic being garbage. The screen on the iMacs are beautiful though, and to me, being vision impaired, it's the best screen that you could get. And that's why, even though I hate Apple OS, I'm just going to get iMacs and put my version of Linux on them, and that's how we're going to run the show. That's how I'm going to run my cabin studio. That's how we're going to do everything with 27-inch iMacs. But actually, I got a boy, what a nightmare. I wanted to see if the older 17-inch iMacs were as good as this 27-inch as far as the screen goes, but I didn't want to spend a lot of money. So I found one for like $50 on eBay and $20 shipping or $27 shipping or something like that, and bought it. And then it turned out to be some kind of a scammer who was like, "Oh, the shipping, eBay didn't calculate the shipping right. It's $3 more to ship it." And he didn't give me an option to give him the $3. He just canceled the eBay, canceled the purchase, but now he won't give me the money back. And he's giving me some kind of excuses like he doesn't have any money in his PayPal account and I have to wait 7 days before he's gonna have money. And like, what a fucking nightmare. So I bought another one that's cheap for like $50 shipped. So it actually came out to my favor. And I'm confident that eBay and PayPal will force this idiot to give me my money back, but it might take a week. Oh, what a nightmare, right? And what a fucking slime ball right around Christmas. You're going to take somebody's money and then make them wait a week to give them their money back when you don't want to ship an item because the shipping was $3 more, right? And the best is he said, "Well, I'll relist it and you could buy it at the right shipping amount." But he won't give me my money back. So he relisted the item and tells me that I could buy. So what? I'm supposed to pay him twice, and he won't give me my money back for the first one? Fuck you, pal, right? And it's really like a really old 17-inch iMac that I got, but I don't need a lot of processing power, especially for streaming. So it's like a Core 2 Duo and like 2 gigs of RAM. But I want to see if that 17-inch older iMac screens are good, because if they are, I'm going to buy a bunch of those older iMac workstations and use them here for various different things. Um, and, you know, but it's funny that like I almost never have a problem buying something on eBay. But when I do, it turns into this thing where I got to like write letters to PayPal, explain what happened and why this guy wouldn't give me my money back. And like, so today I just said, I'm not fucking waiting for all this. And I just filed everything right away. Like, give me my money back, you fucking scuzzball, low life loser. And he even said something to me like, "Oh, I'll give you your money back in a week. I hope you won't go bankrupt before then." And like, listen, it's a tough time right now, bro. And $70 is $70, and I need the machine here in order to do some work. So it is a big deal to me because you just made me wait 3 or 4 days. You didn't ship it, and then now you won't give me my money back for 7 days. That's 10 days waiting for buying some cheap ass old obsolete iMac that is probably worthless to everybody but a nerd like me that could speed it up a bit, right? YouTube reserves the right to censor content, but the creator ultimately owns it. Okay, so yeah, there's confirmation there. Hmm. No comment. No comment. I'm trying to not say nasty things about people that I dislike, uh, because that just fosters more negative emotion towards them when you stew on it, or you know when you verbalize it. I just bought the Levno Yoga. Fucking rocks, not cheap. Yeah. Well, shout out to River Dogma Pitbull. I don't believe we've seen you here before. You may be new. This is kind of a downer of a show with no topic. We're just open format, open lines tonight. Usually we have some sort of subject matter. I do not believe nor follow any expert or celebrity in the field of ufology whatsoever. I'm with you on that one, Michael. I'm not going to do it. Again, I'm not going to comment negatively on another show host, Jimmy. I mean, Michael. I'm not going to comment on what you said here. And I'm not going to, well, I'm not going to disagree with you, but I'm not going to say anything. Okay? Okay, Michael? And you understand. I'm really trying hard not to. There are people really who do not deserve their place. And that's all I will say. It's better to underclock them, some of them, for stability. My current board has all types of overclock features with great protections. Yeah, I got into overclocking for a little while, but I burned a few very expensive processors, so I stopped doing that. But this is way early on before they had those things, Six Design, like were the protections built into the motherboard that would shut down the processor before it overheated and smoked. You know, I smoked a few. In the Matrix Shady Grove, and them pushing that LARP stuff has me upset. Lee Veltman, you live in an entirely different world, and I don't even know what you're talking about, but I know it probably is Q related bullshit. And you know what? I'm not even going to say that anymore. I'm going to say that letter conspiracy theory. That's what I'll say from now on. All good. I'm drinking. Yeah, I should be. Yeah, that's why I like this one. It has crazy protection. It holds two sets of CMOS BIOS backups. Wonderful stuff. Yeah, you live in a listen, Six Design. I get by with computers that I literally get out of the trash or people give me. I'm really not big on buying computers. Um, I'm making an exception in the case of these iMacs, but that's only because I've recently discovered that the iMac screen is the best screen. At least the one that I have is the best screen that I've ever seen for my vision impairment problems, and I have a much easier time working on them. So, but I want to get at some old iMac beaters and fix them up because I don't like spending a lot of money on hardware. Uh, and really, for my purposes with Linux, it's kind of host independent. I could keep my whole computer on a USB thumb drive or on a laptop hard drive and a USB adapter and put it on literally any computer in my house and it'll boot. So I just don't find the value in having like a big delay, and especially paying that much for the latest and greatest. Like I don't know. I do like Threadrippers though. If anybody has seen these Ryzen Threadrippers, man, that's a beautiful processor, especially if you want to make videos, right? I hear you. I have many Frankenstein creations. I don't pay as much though. I buy them 2 years after they came out, save like 50% easy. Yeah, that's the way to do it. That or taking, I have a few friends that upgrade their PCs every year and a half. And so when they do that, they're always giving me like motherboards or video cards, and I take it all. Yeah. Spooky, I hate you. I hate you. Having a cup of tea before bed. I just played 3 hours of Cyberpunk, and it's simply incredible. Uh, Spooky, I'm poor, and the $500 or $600 plus the cost of the game that it would cost for me to be able to play that game, to me, might as well be 500 million, right? Because I don't know. I couldn't tell you when I may have that much money to spare to be able to buy that PlayStation or the game itself. And that makes me a little sad. But then I think in 2 years, I'll be able to get it for a third of the price that you paid. So it's all good. Michael, I'm not sure. Cyberpunk nothing. Daymare 1988. I have listened and joined in our shows on Spreaker, not in the past 2 weeks, though. She's had some loop people on. I just can't sit and listen to those types for too long. Oh, you're talking about Erica Luce? Not familiar with that show or that show host, but I'll have to check it out. Do androids dream of electric debt? Yeah, that's another thing, Pragmagic. Like, I got a credit card, right? I could just buy it, right? But and my wife and I have this sort of agreement that our credit cards are at zero and or near zero. I don't know. Maybe if there's some stuff from the cab, maybe a few $100s on that one card, but that's it, right? We don't have debt, and we sort of have this well, no, we talked about it. I was going to say unwritten rule. No, it's not a written rule, but it's an agreed to rule that we only use credit cards for an emergency. And she went out of her way to say like buying a new PlayStation is not an emergency when we sort of agreed to this. So I don't know that I don't know if I could get a pass for that. So I could just put on a credit card, but I don't want to go into debt for a video game system. Without talking shit, I'll just say that anyone who's telling you that they're in the know is not. Yeah, that's the way it works. Spooky Cyberpunk is like Shadowrun the tabletop. I don't know, Michael, but everybody that I know that got that game is telling me how amazing it is so far. So I don't know. But I want to tell you, Spooky, I feel like an old man because like I don't I generally prefer old games. Like, my kid got a Nintendo, this like Nintendo Classic with all the games, and I have thoroughly enjoyed playing that again. And I got a Sega Genesis and thoroughly enjoyed playing that again. Just simpler, You guys, your generation with these modern games and 18 button controllers and shit, it's so complicated. Um, and also the time, I don't know. I don't I know people that spend 12 hours a day playing games. And to me, like, wow, I get it that people need to escape right now. So maybe that's what's driving people to spend 12 hours a day inside a video game world. But I don't want to do that. Well, maybe I do some days, but I can't because I have shit to do, Spooky. Like, I got shit I got to do. I have to make accomplishments in this world. And I think that's part of the allure of video games. Like I have a friend that's playing. I don't know what the hell is he playing. WoW online still. And he'll tell me like, "Oh, I got this many experience points today, and this much gold." Like that's a real accomplishment. Like, well, good for you, bro. In a fucking fake video game world, you're loaded, but you're a loser living on your mom's couch in the basement in the real world. I just got shit to do. I can't. I'd love to just escape to a fucking fake video game world and have adventures, right? For 12 hours a day. I got shit I got to get done in the real world. Okay, Spooky. Fair enough. I play like an hour a day. You stream as much as this, my dude. Yeah, maybe you're right. And maybe I take getting a stream done as an accomplishment, right? And maybe it's not because all I've done is injected, this thing into the webverse. Is that accomplishment in the real world? Maybe not. I don't know. It gets complicated. Tonight is an exception, and the last I must sleep. Well, you have a good rest there, bro. And we're gonna wrap things up here. I'm sorry. I thought it'd be best if we don't have a topic tonight, so we could just talk about some of the stuff that's going on. I buy telescopes who don't use them. I'd use one, Michael. Just putting that out there. I'll send you a picture of the shitty one that I have at the cabin that I'm trying to refurbish or get working. It came with my house and it's really old and I don't even know how good it is, but I wanted to see the moon better at the cabin. So I thought it best if there be no topic tonight. Uh, and we can just sort of talk about the latest happenings of Streamland and the changes that are really going to be necessary going forward in order to preserve the channel. And it's depressing and it's a downer. And I apologize for you having to sit through this downer. But look, tomorrow I'm going to try to pick a fun topic. And well, actually, I think I've already got a fun topic, and we'll see where it goes. Love the cabin. See the moon better. Yeah. Nowadays, just getting off my ass is enough. Yeah, I hear you. Love the cabin. See the moon better. Yeah, I'm at the highest elevation in Pennsylvania, Pragmagic, and you can see like the International Space Station with the naked eye. You could see satellites passing over with the naked eye. So I thought we got to have a telescope here so we can look at some of this shit better. And the moon's amazing there, you know. KB is here. Shout out to KB. Down Jones Muller. It looks really misty there. Yeah. Yeah. It's intentional. That's a good strategy. One-on-one, topic-based, constructive and positive. That's what I do. Doesn't get clicks, but hey, welcome to my world. Well, you know what I'm realizing, Magic, when I go talking shit about people, it gets the most views. But now that could be considered hate speech, so that's off the table, you know? Or could be off the table. I don't know. Maybe I'll do like Twitch only streams when I want to talk shit about people and not worry about getting deleted or banned or stricken or whatever. Yeah, and I like your videos. I think you do fine, Craig. Yeah. And really, if you were just after YouTube clicks and views, then you could do, you could unbox Transformers toys, Pragmagic, and get 10 times the views you did. If your goal is simply to get views, there's ways to do that. I don't think that's most artists' goals. Most artists' goals want to share their thoughts, their feelings, or their art, or that creative thing that they create, right? And I guess divorcing yourself from outcome is a good idea, right? But it's hard to do that. Like today, I noticed that the sub count dropped by 10, and I was like, oh, I must have pissed somebody off with that last show. Oh, 11. So, it is what it is. Try to divorce myself from the numbers. I want to read 90s comics on stream. That sounds like that's something that I would tune into. I grew up reading comics in the 90s, so for sure. For sure. Somebody asked where Carol was. I'm not sure. I have not seen them. Yeah, so friends, we're going to wrap things up here. We're at about almost an hour and 45 minutes, and I thought this was going to be a half hour. So, but I wanted to give some time and attention to people in the live chat, so we could all share stuff here together, right? I want to thank each and every one of you for joining us. I'm always happy when there's an audience, and I'm glad that you could be a part of mine. Until next time, friends, my name is Stephen Cambian. Good night, and God bless all of you.